United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Approval of the journal, minutes from previous meetings. Mr. Flurima. Second. Beth Neal. Roll call.
Tatman.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Florima.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
All right. Reports from committees. Mr. Florima.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. Safety Services has a couple items on tonight's agenda. Number 4 is to accept the SAFER, which is a Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response grant for the use by the Chillicothe Fire Department. This is an excellent opportunity for the city of Chillicothe to receive funds to add to our count as far as firefighters are concerned. It's a very great opportunity for us to have a little bit of certainty for a couple of years. We have gotten this grant because we fit the metrics and we also have skin in the game to match the grant funds. As in so much as we're working with the time frame with this, so at the appropriate time, I will ask to waive the 3-read rule. Next is first reading to appropriate the safety levy and capital funds in the amount of $11,000 for a roof and parapet wall repairs at Chillicothe Fire Department Station 1. Now, as far as this is concerned, this is a problem they've had that's been ongoing. They're in pretty bad need of repair for this roof, and we'd like to get this done prior to the winter so that we don't have additional damage and water damage. So at the appropriate time, I will also ask to waive the 3-read rule, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Florima. Any other committee reports? Yes, Mr. Pro.
Finance Committee has one item on tonight's agenda. It is item number 1 at second reading. It is currently listed to appropriate $4,994.50. I would like to, and that is to update and coordinate all departments into the same email hosting service. I need to amend that amount to $2,452 and no cents, which is a considerable savings, as you can see.
What was the update?
$2,452.
Yeah, you make the motion.
I make the motion.
Second. Joe Florima. Roll call.
Tatman.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Florima.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Any other committee reports? I forgot your name already. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
City Services has one item on the list today, and that is the establishment, item 7, establish a curbside recycling program to accept Ohio EPA grant of $250,000 and the grant from the Solid Waste District, grant of $50,000, accept and authorize acceptance of bids for bins and trucks, authorizing the hiring of 2 recycling program positions, establish a monthly fee of $1.95 for the service, and 25 cents for fee for capital costs. There's been a lot of input from the constituency about that. I don't know if Beth Neal has anything else to say. She helped co-chair that particular item with David Clay on the City Services Committee, so do you have something you'd like to add?
I just have one additional thing to add, is that the mayor and I attended a meeting at OUC with staff members there and a group called the Sugar Bush Foundation. That was on Friday. the mission of the Sugar Bush Foundation is to work with OUC and local communities to foster sustainable environmental and socioeconomic development. So this group expressed a lot of excitement and a lot of interest in this project. They want to help us. The procedure is going to be the OUC applies for the funds to the Sugar Bush Foundation, and it's awarded sometime in February 2018. It has to go through a procedural process, and OUC would see that money sometime in July of 2018. But the intent of them helping us is to get the OU students marketing classes to provide all of our marketing material and to help us with education. And they have experience at this where they actually go to things like football games or basketball games, set up a little table and pass out literature and answer questions, and just to try to help educate and change the behavior a little bit of people so that they're more willing to participate in recycling. So if this comes through, and I have a strong belief that it will, just judging by the reaction of those Sugar Bush members, this will be the last piece of the pie that we need to really kick this program off and get people involved. That's the end of my, not report, but spiel.
Thank you. But I was at the football game over the weekend, and that's 2 weekends ago, when I wasn't really as sick as I am now. But anyhow, I've noticed that OU down there at Athens does an excellent job of recycling.
Right.
I mean, they've got recycling cans everywhere in that city, so they really do a good job down there. So I think there'll be really a lot of help for us. Any other committee meeting, or meeting, any other committee? Go ahead, okay. Engineering committee. I have number 2 on the agenda tonight. It's a second reading. Provide for placement of 4-way stop signs at intersection of 2nd and Mulberry and 4th and Walnut. But I would like to make a couple amendments to the ordinance. And instead of saying 4-way stops, Mr. Clausen clearly pointed out it's going to be 3-way stops. So we're going to change 4-way to 3-way. And we need to change that in 2 different places, I believe, or 3 different places. So I need to clarify the areas. Okay, so I'm making a motion that we change the, everywhere it says 4-way to a 3-way stop. Mr. Fleener, second. Okay, roll call.
Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
And that's all I've got to report. So, yes.
Point of order, is someone sponsoring the resolution for first reading for number 6?
Number 6, now is that?
Oh, that would be me. Sorry.
Yep, it said ODOT, and I was kind of confused, it didn't say 159 that we had in the works.
Mark your calendars, that's the one time you miss something.
Figured. But at least we're not on TV, so.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you.
This is what we had at our meeting last Monday, and it is the actual operating plan for transit. They applied to ODOT for that, and it is due October 6th. So at the appropriate time, I would like to waive the 3 read on this. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Patrick.
Number 3 C series.
Pardon me?
Is number 3 C series?
I thought so.
Yeah.
It is.
It's city services, but it goes another read.
Also, city services.
That's okay. It's a
Um,
casual meeting tonight.
City Services also has Item number 3, the authorized agreement with Branstetter Carroll to conduct a feasibility study of the city's existing facilities and appropriate $19,500. That's the second reading? Is the second reading?
Yes.
It'll be all 3.
All right, thank you. All right, reports from officials. Well, the mayor's not here. I don't know if he left you any notes or not.
He left me a couple. I was just speaking to him before I come, and he's doing well, so wanted to add that. But first thing is paving. 2017 paving is complete. We still have some striping to put down. That should get down this week. They're telling us hopefully tomorrow it'll start. I think the weather's gonna hold out for us, so they'll be able to get started on that. Hopefully get that completed this week. One thing I'll mention here, Carlisle Hill. If anybody goes up Carlisle Hill, and it was pointed out to me today that there's actually water seeping up through the pavement about halfway up the hill, right in the middle of the road. We're probably going to have to dig out a little section of that freshly paved road to see where that water is coming from. It's something we need to get corrected, obviously, before winter comes, because it would be a skating ring going down through there winter. So Carlisle Hill will probably be shut down for a day as we go up there and look and see what caused this problem.
Do we have an ETA actually?
I'm sorry?
Do we have an ETA of when they're going to go?
Hopefully this week. I talked to engineering today. They're going to try to get up there and take a look at it. I know they've looked, and they don't believe there's any water lines running through there. They don't. I mean, it's just we're just going to have to take a look and see what's causing it.
Okay.
So, but we need to get that fixed before winter. Also, due to popular demand, our Halloween hours will be moved back to 6 o'clock.
But it will still be on Tuesday?
It will be on Tuesday the 31st, starting at 6. I won't bore you with all the other details. And then, just to dovetail off of Ms. Neal and Mr. Hines on item 7, late last Friday afternoon, the Ohio EPA reached out to me, and there's a grant available. I believe it's called the Recycling Partnership, and it's companies here in Ohio. Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble's 2 of the big ones. There's 3 cities in the state that got this grant, and they actually reached out to the EPA and said that they would like to talk to us about offering us a grant for recycling. So he said he would follow up with me. He kind of asked what our timeline was. I gave him our timeline. He said, you know, we have a lot of time. He was concerned that we were going to try to get it started more quickly than what our timeline is. So he said he would reach back out to me at a later time, and we would talk about that grant also. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Farmer. Next on the list is the auditor.
I don't have anything on the agenda today, and I'm not sure, I can't remember if Mr. Cole announced it, but we will be having a budget review session on Wednesday at 6:30.
This Wednesday?
This Wednesday.
Yeah, I need to.
What time?
6:30.
And there will be a finance committee meeting directly following the budget review. And that will address assignment 17-118, which is to request legislation to appropriate $51,000 from unappropriated general fund and $14,000 from unappropriated street construction maintenance to pay various bills, expenses, and budget adjustments.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Spetnagel. Thank you, Dustin, for clarifying that. Okay, President of Council, I got some notes here from, I'm only kidding. I don't have anything special to say because I wanted our safety service to talk about the gate closing too, but I don't have, you know, they did the High Street gate
yeah.
closing. I guess it went well as far as the floodgates.
Sunday night, we practiced closing the High Street floodgate, and that was the third one and the last one that we have here in the city. Now we can get on track of doing one a year, is what the Corps requires us to do. So that catches us up, and now starting next year, we'll just rotate every year. We'll do it different. So, and it went well. You know, when we first started doing those, we had some issues with some plates being rusted in, I guess, so to speak, and they had to break some bolts off. But we learned to go out there and prepare a little bit before the actual gate closing. So Sunday night went well. So thank you for reminding me.
Okay, time for audience participation, and remind you that each speaker has 5 minutes, a total of 15 on the same subject. And please clearly say your name and address so Mr. Fosden can get you in the report. Everybody likes to read their name in the report. And maybe not. Alan Davis, you're first up.
I'm Alan Davis. I live at 370 Braywood. Back in, I think it was the 5th of August, I read in the paper that there had been a finance committee meeting on the 3rd, and I saw that the mayor had said that he had hoped, after saving up a reserve of $1 million, that we'd be able to do $1 million a year in street repaving. When I read that, I was a little surprised. I wrote an article and submitted it to the Gazette, but they, and I don't, this is not a bad comment on the Gazette, but they didn't do it. So I've included it on the back of the page that I handed out with just a very slight, couple slight modifications from what I submitted to them. If we go down the other side of the page, back in January, I asked Eric Reinhardt to submit an assignment to the engineering committee for developing a plan to maintain our streets. That plan, I don't believe, was ever developed, but instead what was decided was a .2 tax levy. For some history on our street and alley backlog, from 1995 to 2003, we were doing about 500,000 square feet of streets a year of the ones that the city had financial responsibility for. Then from 2004 to 2013, it went down to 38,000. So over that 10-year period, we didn't even do the same amount as we were doing per year before that. So we went into this new street paving plan and project with about a 10-year backlog. What our city engineer had told us, it takes $1.5 million a year to maintain our streets. So at times 10, that's a $15 million backlog is what we went into this new street paving. Now what do we have available for streets? The levy says $1.4 million approximately per year, times 10 years, that's about $14 million. And then we get gasoline and license fees of approximately $1 million a year, times 10, that's another 10. So we have, and both of those, the purpose is for maintaining our streets. So we have about $24 million coming into the city for maintaining streets. And we had a backlog of, or a need, with the 15 million backlog and then the 15 for the current 10 years, we had about $30 million needs. So the article said the mayor hopes to spend $1 million a year. Now $1 million a year times 10 is $10 million. We have $24 million coming into the city that could be used for street maintenance, and we had a backlog and a current need of $30 million. So the question is, what happens to the other $1.4 million a year, or $14 million during this 10-year period? And do we really think that $10 million a year is, $10 million over 10 years is enough to do our streets? I think the answer is pretty clear that it's no. So I have one comment on the recycling. I'm a big recycler. I've been doing it for years. Unfortunately, when I got the slip, when I recycled my electronics, which Pat helped me know on that, and I tried to do that, it cut out about 90% of the stuff that I thought I could recycle because it had a little thing on it. So we may want to see, I mean, at that one meeting, big meeting on recycling, they said the people down at Athens recycle everything. So we may want to see, do we want to go with someone else so we can recycle more? Because again, I hardly recycle anything now when I follow the list. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Dennis Foreman.
I'm Dennis Foreman. I'm from Piketon, Ohio. So if you want my address, it's 115 5th Street in Piketon, Ohio, 45661. You might be asking, why is a guy from Piketon, Ohio coming to Chillicothe? Well, I'm on the Piketon Village Council. It's my 8th year. I'm running again this fall, unopposed, so it'll be my 3rd term. And I'm also a member of the Site-Specific Advisory Board. They're called the SSAB. It's at the plant, the A plant, USEC, several names have been called. I'm also a member of the Energy Communities Alliance. That's with all the communities, Los Alamos, Hanford, Savannah River, all these names are nuclear towns like Piketon. Now you've heard of Piketon, but sometimes it's called Portsmouth. That's when they get jobs. When they lose jobs, it's called Piketon. I live there, I know. So here's the problem, because we're like, it's always a negative thing. But the place is Piketon, their address is shipped to our mail, it is Piketon, Ohio. We asked for a third-party assessment. It'd be like someone in your family with a terminal illness, you say, hey, can I get a second opinion? Well, to me, a 1,000-year dump in my town of nuclear waste, I wanted a second opinion. All these other places got the same respect, but Piketon did not get that. It's nice to hear about Ohio EPA grant for recycling. EPA also gives grants for third-party assessments. Piketon did not get one. Our budget's a little over $1 million a year. We're a small community. We can't afford stuff like that, but we manned up and womened up. We got men and women on our council, just like you guys. We paid the $70,000 because we did ask for the grant. We asked DOE. We asked them, it took 9 months to get an answer, and I made a joke to them. I said, look, I could have had a baby within the time you give me an answer. That's not acceptable for an answer of 9 months and you tell us no, no help. So the little village of Piketon got the third-party assessment. We got harassed by people from the plant to do this, and you know why? They said it was only 20 feet in fractures. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you a copy. I'll get it to one of you guys. I'll send it to you digitally. There's more fractures than 20 feet, several. We had a third-party assessment. The same ones that did the work in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. We wanted someone to look at our place. We couldn't read that 5,000-page document. I don't know if any of you are geologists or hydrologists or professional, but I know I'm not. That's why we reached out and we hired our own. And they found 56 seeps. What that means is water like you got going up Carlisle. We got a lot of those coming up where they want to put this dump. I don't know. Digging that little road up is not as much as digging up a nuclear landfill. Guys, that's going to affect you as well. We're set in an area right now, it's called Lake Type. I am a science teacher. I know the geology of this area on that level. I am a science teacher, Mr. Prohl knows. This was water. We have a lot of water in southern Ohio. You know, you live out in the desert, one day the mass migration of people will come back to southern Ohio because we have the water. The reason the plant was in Piketon, Ohio is because they pumped 40 million gallons of water near Piketon High School, the new one. When you go down to Piketon High School, there's an old cemetery, there's the water wells. 40 million gallons a day pumped there. Here's the people that signed on that do not want the nuclear dump. I just want you to know this. When people come up here and try to tell you something, you can reach out to Dennis Foreman. Piketon Village Council. We voted unanimous. We do not want it. That's the mayor. That's all of us. Waverly Village Council. They do not want it. Now, if you know Pike County, that's your two largest places. Sill Township. Scioto Township. Those are the two townships that surround the place. Scioto Valley Schools. That's all the schools around there. I don't know if you understand that DOE doesn't pay taxes. And I brought this up. I said, you know, we got Marysville, Honda, Toyota, and Georgetown, and in between's Piketon with a nuclear dump. And I said, what is the purpose? We're going to save money. How much? $1 billion. What are you going to do for us in Piketon? Nothing. It's up to you to reindustrialize. I hear you guys, I heard him talking about roads, you can't afford to do roads. What do you think Piketon's going to do with the nuclear dump? So I'm not trying to be a jerk, but also Sheriff Reeder, he opposes it. You've heard of Sheriff Reeder. You know, we have the same problems you guys do. We're not much different. He opposes it. The auditor opposes it. Erica Snodgrass. Ed Davis, the treasurer. I mean, come on, guys. These people are all joining in. We also have 2 former leading scientists of the plants, Dr. Minuta, Charles Lux. They've written letters. They're against it. Now, that scares me to death. You got the 2 leading scientists. I'm not a leading scientist. I'm an 8th grade scientist, guys. So, they have an unlimited WAC. If you don't know what that is, I will educate you anytime. I'll talk to any of you. WAC, Waste Acceptance Criteria. That means they can take about anything they want and just dump it into there. That's over a huge water table, and it does run from the south to the north, if you know that. It runs reverse underground. That will affect your water. I just want you to know this. We ask for these things, and what we say is, here's the thing. DOE did not come to a Piketon Village Council meeting until 2016. That'd be like ignoring you guys and just going to commissioners and only hearing what they have to say. I live in Piketon. This affects my property value and my children I live with. The bedrock, I already told you, they lied about that. Also, it has to be 50 feet above the historic water table. There's some places it's 20. There's some places it's 97. What they did an average. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot do an average. We are right now asking for an IG, an investigative report. Let me tell you how the government works right now. DOE does not have an IG. They are so backlogged in getting people in these positions, if you understand what I'm saying, we have to go into the Department of Justice. So what I'm trying to tell you, when people come up here from the plant to tell you how things are, I live in Piketon, I'm elected, my neighbors and friends are on me, and for good reason. So don't let someone come up here and snowball you and tell you how things are in Piketon. They got community support. I'm telling you they don't. There's a group called CARD, Citizens Against a Radioactive Dump. They've got papers from the East Coast to the West Coast. The news stations are coming, major radio stations. Guys, this is our home. This is our land. This will affect you as well. There's good jobs at that plant right now, and don't let them tell you if they don't do the dump, they're going to walk away. The record of decision, I'm very well versed in this, says they can ship it away. I don't want them to give us the cheapest version. I want the best version. This is our land, ladies and gentlemen. They run that, that'll affect you as well. So, I'm Dennis Foreman. I appreciate it. Anyone wants to talk to me anytime, I'm here for you.
Dennis, I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to forward to our President of Council request that Council looks at a resolution on this right now. Luckily we got Wi-Fi now, so I can do that.
I can send you the report. Now, if you don't understand it, I can get you into our third-party assessment, which we have to pay for every time they talk to you, but I don't care. I'll pay for it if I have to. But we are paying for him. Every time he comes in, we have to pay for him to fly in. I don't know if you had a third-party assessment done before yourself. EPA, you know, sometimes they'll do ones for chicken bones and diapers over in Dayton, but Piketon, Ohio, that's a nuclear dump, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, it scares me to death. So, I appreciate your time, guys.
Thank you for coming.
Well, here's the thing. I want to tell you this real quick to end it. They're going to all the other counties. That'd be like me coming from Pike County and tell you what to do with your Glatfelder money, your Kenworth money. I don't disrespect you guys. I love this area. I teach in Ross County. I teach at Zane Trace. But here's how we respect each other. We back each other up. We're a small community that gets ignored a lot. You guys know that, so I'm here for you guys too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy Van Voorst.
Hi, thank you for all the work that you do on City Council, and I am here as a friend of Children's Services. In November, there is going to be a renewal levy placed on the ballot for Children's Services, and I have volunteered to chair that committee. And at my age, you're probably wondering, why on earth would she do that? Well, I've been a foster parent, and we have adopted children, and I've had a long relationship with Children's Services. So I feel that I know the need for the passage of this issue, and I know it's critical. That's why I'm asking you, the council, to partner with us in seeing that this critical levy passes. It is a renewal levy. It is not an additional tax. And so it won't increase your taxes any, and for every $100,000 a year, you're only really now paying $26.23. board, we could compute it down to like 8 cents a day in taxes. It's a small levy, but a critical one to help the abused, neglected, and dependent children in our community. So that is the reason, that one of the reasons that I'm here to ask for your support for that levy. And additionally, I would like to say that I also support the passage of the recycling. It won't affect me in the fact that I still will have to take my things to be recycled because I moved to the condominiums, and so we have a private pickup. So it won't, you know, it's not something that I would have to be concerned about because we already have that sort of thing. But I did live for many, many years on Club Drive in Chillicothe, and it was wonderful when we had curbside recycling. And I felt that everyone really participated in that extremely well. I do feel that they will again do that, and how important it is. It kind of reminds me of the story that I used to read my girls that Shel Silverstein wrote in a book of poetry about a child that her room became just full and full and full till she couldn't even get through her room because of all the garbage and recycling things. And so I kind of feel that's what's going to happen to us in the future if we do not address this now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Martin Henshaw.
Members of council, I stand here with a lot of emotions. First is, oh, did I do my homework? Having been on council for so many years, and making sure that you were ready for all of the different questions that would come up. There's no question that your presentation, I'm running real fast all of a sudden because I went to the Piketon presentation and heard the scientists that did that third-party review. I'm really upset when our community is disrespected. Hearing the mayor of Piketon get up and say, we've lived with this for 60 years. We know they think we're expendable. We know that they really don't respect us. And that's not why I'm here tonight. I couldn't help but say that after your comments. But it does tie in because one of the things I think that happens when you're on council is things come to you when the timing's right. When I was on council, we had to terminate the recycling for financial reasons. And that broke my heart. I work with the League of Women Voters, and for years that organization has supported environmental issues and recycling from the very beginning. But as I listen to your comments and your report, when I hear that there's additional grant funding possibly available, the timing is right. I really do admire council for bringing this forward at this time. This is an economic issue. And you might say, yes, we've heard that. The extra $1 something per month is something that our citizens don't like. No, it's an economic development issue. People who are going to come to this community want to know that we do things that proud communities do. Recycling is one of the things that proud communities do. So thank you for tackling it, and I hope it goes forward and passes on its third reading.
Thank you, Bart.
I'll see you all at Candidates Night next Tuesday. And we begin at 6:30 at Ross County Service Center with the issues and 7 o'clock with candidates.
Ryan Wade.
My name is Ryan Wade, address 682 North Malone. I'm president of IFF Local 300. Just here tonight to speak on the safer levy real quick. You don't have to worry about starting your timer, it won't take 5 minutes. So this is a good time for us to keep moving the fire department in a good direction, a positive step for us. And I would just really hope that you guys will pass this tonight so we can keep our timeline going and we can get this thing rolling. So that's really all I have to say, and ask for you guys to pass this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to express their opinion or, yes, sir? You come up front and give us your name and address.
My name is Al Beartrucker. I live at 196 West 2nd. I heard the service director say that the street paving is finished, which is a little bit alarming because 2nd Street between Walnut and High has had the blacktop stripped off by a mechanical machine, and there's no new blacktop put on it. I'm aware that there's been some discussion by people that they really like pretty bricks, but the bricks that are there are not in very good shape. And a lot of people tell me that they don't like to drive down 2nd Street, which is okay with me, but I have to drive down 2nd Street. And there's one, at least manhole cover that is raised up. That's kind of a nasty thing you have to avoid. That street was bricked originally, long ago, and my impression is that sometime in the 60s or 70s it was blacktop. And a couple of times over the last 40 years, I believe that it has been planed. A big machine that comes along with teeth that grind up the top and they cart off and put the asphalt on it. The bricks that are there, about somewhere between 2/3 and 3/4 of them have been gouged very severely by that machinery. And it's coming apart. And when people drive down the street now, there's big clouds of dust. I'm concerned about whether that's going to be finished. I've heard lots of things, oh, somebody wants to put sealer on it or something. I don't think that's a very practical idea. There are ways to preserve brick streets, but the condition of 2nd Street is such that it seems to me that the only reasonable solution is to pave it. But I'm concerned if the paving is done and they take the machinery away, it's probably not going to be done until next year, and we're going to have a winter of a real mess. The bricks that have been cut are going to deteriorate. I have personal experience with paving bricks simply because over the past 40-some years, I've collected paving bricks from time to time. Years ago, I constructed driveway with salvaged paving bricks. And I know that when they're broken by the road machinery, they will crumble and dissolve. If they're intact, the water doesn't get it to freeze and break them up. Even bricks that appear to be intact sometimes break with freezing water. And I'm real concerned about whether anything's going to be done about that. And I would simply say that I hope the city does something, because it looks like a mess now, and I think it's going to get a lot worse. And the idea, I know there are people who think it's just beautiful, but that beauty is going to go away real fast. And to have a street restored is something that, from the little I've seen about it, would be fantastically expensive. And to take the bricks up and relay them would be ungodly amount of labor. When we consider that those streets were paved with brick over 100 years ago, those bricks were fired in coal kilns. There's a tremendous amount of energy to go into those bricks. Hell, they weigh something like 20 pounds apiece. And when the road has to be graded and crowned, all of that was done with horses. And then the bricks were laid from across the street by hand in perfect, beautiful rows. And I just don't see reconstruction of something like that as something that's going to happen. I just want to let you know that we would certainly like to see Second Street paved. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for coming this evening. I did get your phone call Saturday regarding from you and Mrs. Berkirker, and then the email on Saturday, and it was sent to the mayor, and subsequently it's been sent to Mr. Carmen, who's the Safety Services, and so we are aware of your concerns and are in discussion on how to move forward, given that the time frame for paving has passed, and I'm not quite sure yet because the mayor is not in the country on what we're going to be doing with that, but he is aware that that's an unfinished project.
So
that
the status of it now is that it's not going to be paved before?
we don't know. We don't know. As I said, the mayor is out of the country currently, and I know that he is aware of the issue, given that it hasn't been, so we just wanted to make sure that we...
I can speak to it a little bit. I believe there's a committee request that was sent to President Arnold, and it outlines what needs to be done to keep its brick, and then also on asphalting it. And I think the council is going to put that in committee and then come back with recommendations on which way we should go.
Does it look like there can be something to clean it up before snow?
I can take a look at that, yes, I'll go up and take a look at it.
Because when you go off the car in the morning and look down the street and see somebody coming down the street, there's a big cloud of dust. And that's unpleasant. I appreciate what you people can do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to, yes ma'am, give us your name and address, please.
Marcia Wagner, 126 West Second Street. I wasn't really planning on speaking, but I'm probably one of the, I would say out of our street, the majority of us like the brick, and have really noticed that people are slowing down, which is wonderful. You were going right in from out of town, from town, and we should have slower streets at that time. I do not see a cloud of dust. I live right across from our funeral home. I see no dust. I can see his concern, but I really don't think it's a concern. But I think going into a discussion, but the majority of us really feel as though that is helping our downtown to have a better flow. And again, this is not my issue tonight at all. But I want to let you know that a lot of us like the streets.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Terry Williams.
My name is Terry Williams. I reside at 371 Piley's Lane in the city of Chillicothe. I support the recycling proposal, the SAFER grant, the Children's Services levy, and finding some kind of proposal for paving. I'm taking no position on 2nd Street today. That's not what I'm here to talk to you about. Since it's a casual meeting, I did want to stand in support of Mr. Foreman's comments, and particularly point out one piece that Mr. Foreman did not mention to you. The city of Chillicothe historically has benefited greatly from the jobs that have been at the Portsmouth site. My father retired from that site after 35 years of crowd service in USW 689, and the reality is a large number of those union workers and a large number of the salaried workers, particularly salaried workers with very high incomes and the highly compensated employees of the companies that ran that plant site, historically located themselves in the city of Chillicothe. Depending on the year that you choose, and they have plenty of statistics from DOE for this, you have anywhere from 35% all the way up to a peak of 55% of the highly compensated employees at that site who located themselves within the city limits of Chillicothe until that site went into cold shutdown. The assumption was that that number grew and grew and grew as our globalized culture became more transportable. You could go, many different distances, a lot more economically as culture and technology picked up. It's very disturbing to me at this point that we as a region are on the brink of abandoning that site to become a nuclear waste dump that will not produce high-paying jobs, will certainly not produce highly compensated employees, and will essentially abandon over half a century's worth of investment and work in a site to just allow it to be staffed by a few guards and a lot of really dangerous material. We have an opportunity as a region to push for real development and real relocation for large investment in that area. And I guarantee you, if this process goes through and we have a nuclear waste site there, no company worth their salt is going to relocate their main operation in that site. That's going to impact not only their bottom line, but our bottom line too. We all know what happened when Mead Research left the city of Chillicothe. You can see that tax revenue drop drastically. And you can see over a period of a longer few years, that bottom line number drop in accordance with the plant going to cold shutdown status. I hope that you as city council will follow through with what Councilman Prohl has put forward, have something tangible to speak to this issue, because we are not expendable in this region. We should not be treated as disposable people, which is exactly how the Department of Energy and the wider public is looking at us right now. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing no hands, old business.
Since this is such an informal meeting, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Of the people that are talking about the waste dump, is there a particular person or representative that we can direct our concerns to? I mean, where can we direct our calls and letters to do the most good?
First, let's start with this. Let me get you a copy of the third-party assessment.
Okay.
And you can meet with our mayor and hear what he has to say, and ask Carl, our geologist, because EPA geologists will not meet with our geologist. Okay? One of the things we want is an intermodal shipping yard, which would create more jobs of local people. Come down to Piketon, most of the tags are from out of state. You understand what I'm saying? They say that we're not qualified, we don't want to work. I've heard these statements and I do not like it, don't appreciate it. Because I'm a science teacher, I want my kids to work. So let me get the third-party assessment to you. Let me tell you what, there's going to be a lot of the stuff you don't understand, and some of the stuff you will. But when they talk about cracks and fractures in the bedrock, we were told we only went to 20 feet. Even at the SSAB, which is, it's called Site-Specific Advisory Board, there's 19, well, it's supposed to be 20 members, and I'd like you to see the list of them, and I can tell you how many of them work there, have contracts there. I don't have anyone working there. So I don't have a bias of, or if I say something against my company, it's easy for people to agree with you when they're on the payroll. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when you hear things, even the plant manager, he lives up here with you guys. And to me, you know, I'm from Piketon. We provide him a very nice job, a very nice salary. Our schools don't get any tax base from that. I don't know if you understand, Piketon doesn't get any money. Los Alamos gets $8 million a year. They're one of the top high schools in the United States of America. Why does Piketon, Ohio ignore it? We could have a STEM school for your kids too. Because that's what they do at Savannah River. They have STEM, which is science and math. What they give us is a dump and no reinvestment into our community. They said, that's up to you. And I'm like, guys, we have a 1 million square foot building across from the Rumpke dump in Pike County that's sitting empty right now. We have a cabinet factory that has 140 jobs compared to 2,000 jobs in our past. If you understand, that used to be Mills Pride. There's only 140 jobs with Rural King. We want a living wage. Our people deserve more respect. If it wasn't for Piketon, Ohio, we wouldn't be standing here today to be free people. The stuff that was created in Piketon kept the United States of America safe. And to me, it's a slap in the face. And I feel disrespected by my government when they don't come to us and meet with us. Rob Portman does not come to our meetings. He has not sent anyone to us. Brad Winstrup has not come to us. Craig Butler has not come and spoke to us. We are the people. We are Pike County. I'm an elected official. And I don't like this new wave of how people do things. Get on a telephone call. No, you ain't I'm not going to call you and wait in line. We the people, just like you guys, deserve to have officials come and talk to you. Whether you like what we have to say or not. Whether you like what I have to say or not. This is how we work. Like the young man, or the gentleman back here, And what she says is awesome. They get to say 2 points of view. That's because we are real people. I'm not going to call some phone. I'm not going to internet. I'm a real person, and Piketon deserves more respect. They didn't come to a meeting until 2016, ladies and gentlemen. How long have they been in Piketon? They did not come to us. What they did, they went to a group of commissioners. We have one that has dinner with the guy that's in charge of tearing the dump down. Everyone knows in our town it's almost a joke. To me, it's not a joke. I'm really afraid what's going to happen to people and the investments I have in my friends and my family and where I teach. And some of my great scientists in my school, guess what? At Zane Trace, we've had 19 out of 25 years, the #1 science student. Right, Mr. Prohl? And 8 counties, ladies and gentlemen, not just this county, not just 8 counties. And the majority of those kids, guess what? Their parents work at the plant. But they do live up here, and I understand that. But that plant's provided some nice jobs. Just think what happened. You got Circleville, those plants left. There's a woman doing a documentary. I just started pointing where everything's disappearing. I just start pointing all over southern Ohio. You know, I used to work for Strickland, and I remember I worked for him when NAFTA went away. I used to be the Veterans Affairs representative and student loans. And I remember Strickland got ripped for voting against NAFTA. I don't know if you guys know that. He voted against it, he says, because our jobs are going to be gone. And he was right. If that goes, we're done. You might as well put a tombstone in each end of Pike County. We are done. And what I told him, I said, if we're such a good place, because they are selling this, they'll come and sell it to you. It's like the Music Man. You ever seen the musical Music Man? He comes up with all these little band instruments for you to buy. They'll come up and tell you, oh, if we don't put that sale, they're not going to clean it. Horse crap. They're going to clean it. They have to by law. But the thing is, we want an intermodal shipping yard that would be one of the largest in America, because we know what's coming, guys. Walmart's going to be gone. It's going to be Amazon. Why can't we have Southern Ohio to have one of the largest shipping facilities for all the Appalachian America? We get ignored by everybody. And it's almost a joke. When they come down, they don't come down. They don't come down to Southern Ohio. They forgot you're the first capital. You know, when Ohio was developed, it come from the bottom up, ladies and gentlemen. Not the bottom down. It come from us. And that's what, you know, I'm really upset. So if you guys can help me out, speak up, join us. Because if not, we're just going to get abused. And I don't like, just because they can doesn't make it right. And I'm sick of it. So I appreciate you guys letting me speak. I was nervous as can be, but you have no idea. I spend many nights going to meetings.
If you get me, I know you have my contact. If you give me the contacts you want us to be in touch with, I'll make sure it's distributed amongst all.
Oh, I sure will.
Yeah, give him all the information.
I have all the PowerPoints.
Even maybe get the mayor to come up here and talk at one of our council meetings.
I'll get both mayors.
That's fine.
Ms. Neal, briefly.
Yes.
The people who need to be at that site to hear people's voices have, for the last 7-8 years while this has been under consideration, regardless of partisan politics, to a person, they have refused to come to that facility. The Secretary of Energy, under the last president and under this president, 2 separate parties, have not made this visit a priority. They haven't even sent members from their staff to come to this facility that they took over after privatization failed. They took over a portion of the risk assessment for that facility. They refused to meet with folk. People in the Congress, particularly Mr. Wenstrup, refuses to meet with people at that facility. Some of us traveled from my congregation to Representative Wenstrup's Washington office to speak with him on this issue, and we got staffed out. In addition, we have 2 senators who have regulatory control with a ton of organizations, not just the Department of Energy, but also Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Every single person on this council and every other council that's upset about this ought to be contacting our 2 senators. Contact the senator from your party and say, we want you to come and meet with people at the DOE site at ports down here. Because when they come to hear and actually listen, they're going to get an earful, and that's why they don't want to come here. In addition, our governor has actually been more responsive recently to these discussions because he's actually sent a couple of people down to have conversations. He hasn't come himself, but to be able to have that kind of interaction with all of our elected officials, because this is not a partisan issue. This is a people issue, and we're going to get left behind by every party on this if we don't stand up and cause a bipartisan ruckus. Dennis mentioned you have Republicans and Democrats in Pike County. Erica Snodgrass, very good elected Republican down there. Sheriff Reeder, an elected Democrat. They joined together in one voice, which is very rare in that county, to have two different parties joining anything together, and they spoke with a single voice to say, we don't want this. It's not about party, it's about people. So I think, speaking to all of our elected officials, and the voice that this council could bring, coming from a city of 20,000 people, you have more people in the city of Chillicothe than there are registered electors in the county down there. You have a tremendous voice, and it would be a great boon for you to use.
The rumor is he's coming Friday, Rick Perry. He canceled last time, and it was kind of weird that we had our third-party assessment, and we spoke out, and he didn't show up that time. I don't know if that was, he said he had a cabinet meeting, he couldn't come. But they do called spit and shine to clean the whole place up, and probably spent a lot, well, they did it probably, they spent a lot of money cleaning up that thing. But he's supposed to come Friday, ladies and gentlemen, Rick Perry.
This coming Friday?
This Friday. So if I was you, maybe reach out and say, but when they come, they can't just go on the plant site inside that fence. That's not how it works. You're going to be told what you want to hear in there. The community, they're misleading people. The community does not support this. Just drive down with me. I'll just put you out and you just go walk door to door and just go ask a couple people. You don't have to listen to Dennis for me. Just go door to door and listen to the people that live there.
All right, let's go back to old business. Old business, anybody have any old business? Seeing none? Petitions and correspondence.
Mr. President Pro Tem, I have nothing to report tonight.
It's one of those nights. All right, new business. Anybody? Man, okay. It's a good thing you came tonight, Mr. Foreman, and this meeting really
You became the new business.
Our meetings are usually Monday, so I love that.
All right, committee assignments and meeting dates. I don't have anything because my illustrious leader didn't leave me any notes. So we'll pass on that one too. All right, I'm ready for legislation.
Item 1, second reading of an ordinance appropriating $2,452 to update and coordinate all city departments onto the same email hosting service and declaring an emergency. Second reading.
All right.
Item 2, second reading of an ordinance providing for the placement of stop signs at the intersections of 2nd Street and Mulberry Street and 4th Street and Walnut Street, making these intersections within the city of Chillicothe, Ohio, 3-way stops, appropriating funds for the purchase of 4 solar-powered stop signs and declaring an emergency. Second reading.
All right. 3.
Second reading of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Brandstetter Carroll Incorporated to conduct a feasibility study of the city's existing facilities, appropriating $19,500 to cover the cost of said study, and declaring an emergency. Second reading.
All right. Number 4.
First reading of an ordinance accepting the SAFER, that is Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response grant for use by the Chillicothe Fire Department and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mr. Florima.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. At this time, I would like to put in a motion with the 3-read rule.
All right, motion's been made. Alicia Gray, seconded. Okay. Go ahead, sir.
This is on the motion itself.
The motion itself, yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passed. Now the legislation, please.
Tatman.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Kearney.
Yes.
Hines.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Florina.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
And legislation is passed. Thank you. Item number 5.
First reading of an ordinance appropriating safety levy capital funds in the amount of $11,100 for roof and parapet wall repairs at Chillicothe Fire Department Station Number 1 and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mr. Florima.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. At this time, I would like to put in a motion with removal.
All right, second, Mr. Hines. Go ahead, sir.
On the motion, Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Motion is passed. Legislation, please.
Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Okay, number 6.
First reading of a resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Chillicothe to submit applications proposals with the Ohio Department of Transportation for grants through the U.S. Department of Transportation Federal Transit Administration as authorized under federal transit laws for funds from the Ohio Public Transportation Grant Program, accepting such grants and executing a contract with the Ohio Department of Transportation upon grant proposal acceptance and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Ms. Patrick.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3 read rule.
All right. Mr. Kroll, second. Roll call on the motion.
Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passed. Legislation, please.
Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Last item tonight, number 7.
First reading of an ordinance establishing a curbside recycling program within the city of Chillicothe, Ohio, accepting the Ohio EPA grant in the amount of $250,000 and the Ross County, or the Ross Pickaway Highland Fayette Solid Waste Management District grant in the amount of $50,000, authorizing the acceptance of bids for bins and trucks, appropriating funds for bins and trucks, authorizing the hiring of 2 recycling program positions, establishing a fee of $1.95 for the recycling service, and setting aside 25 cents of said fee for capital expenditures, and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mr. Gray.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I would like to request an executive session at this time, please, to discuss contract negotiations.
Ms. Patrick,
second.
second. Thank you, sir.
Tatman,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Kearney,
Yes.
Hines,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
That's the